Thanks to all of you who stuck with us through the day, and either in person or online. We appreciate it. We felt that we needed to, before the end of the day, really not talk about what's happened over the last 20 years or what's happening now, but where should we be going? And Amy Dworsky of Chapin Hall has graciously agreed to kick us off with a few comments about the future directions for research and evaluation. But we also want to think about policy development in this area, not just what we should be studying, but what we should be doing and then studying. And we really want this session to be as interactive as possible. So Amy will say a few words to kick us off, and then we'll open it up to the floor, as well as anyone online who has comments or questions. Amy.
Okay, so I just wanted to kind of reiterate a couple of themes that came up several times during the course of the day. One in particular is that while we know something about the young people who are being served by programs, we know relatively little about how those interventions are affecting their outcomes. So I think one of the things that we heard people talk about was the need for rigorous evaluation of these programs, and we heard the last panel talk about a number of efforts that are currently ongoing that will hopefully help us in that area. And I think it's also important to think about why program evaluation is so important, and I just want to suggest a couple of reasons. One is that I think we owe it to the youth. So if we're going to be referring them to programs, I think it really is incumbent upon us to be referring them to programs that work, that are really going to help them in the long term. Not just, for example, in terms of housing programs. We don't want to just be putting them in programs that are going to prevent them from becoming homeless for a couple of years. When they eventually leave the program, they're going to wind up homeless. We want to know that these programs are actually preventing homelessness in the long term and improving other outcomes. Also, we know, given the current constraints of both federal, state, local budgets, that they're just limited resources. And I think we need to think about making sure that the resources we do have are being spent wisely on programs that are really going to help young people. And then finally, sort of to Matt's question, or to Matt's comment, about we really have relatively little in the way to guide program developers and policymakers who want to address this problem of housing for youth aging out of foster care. There's just little there in terms of empirical data to guide what kinds of programs should they be funding, what kinds of programs should people be developing, and what kind of intervention should we really be getting behind as we move forward. So I think that's all I'm going to say, and I think we just want to open it up for discussion. You can address questions to me, to any of the other panelists. We can have an open conversation.